Apple doesn't just design phones, they design habits. Every tap, every swipe, every pass is built to keep you hooked. I spent weeks studying how Apple's engineers use psychology, the same principles behind casino and slot machines to make their product impossible to put down. But the wild part isn't even how they do it, it's why. Because the real product isn't the iPhone, it's you. You checked your phone 96 times yesterday, not because you meant to, it just happened. And Apple expected it. That small hit of dopamine your brain releases when you unlock your phone, it's designed. The phone doesn't just wait for you, it calls you back. Back in 2007, Stanford's Professor B.J. Fogg broke behavior into an equation. It's motivation times ability times trick. Starting with the trigger, picture this. Your phone pings. You pause, then give in. You hate that you did it, but you check it anyway. That tiny loss of control, that's intentional. Every notification and every badge is built to exploit that crack. They use variable rewards, the same principles slot machines rely on. Sometimes it's nothing. Sometimes it's someone important. You don't know, so you check. Your brain releases dopamine from the anticipation, not the reward. And that station keeps you hooked. Apple reduces the ability part of the model to almost zero friction. And behavior triggers itself. They're not changing human nature. They're shaping technology around the way your brain already works. Notifications are just the hook. The real grip is the ecosystem. You start with the iPhone, cool. Then AirPods because they connect instantly, then the watch because it only talks to iPhone, then a Mac because handoff is irresistible. And before you notice, you're not just using devices, you're living inside a system, and living becomes costly. Switch to Android and suddenly AirPods lose features, Apple Watch becomes worthless, iMessage makes you socially other, photos must migrate, Apple Pay breaks. The pain isn't just money, it's friction, it's time, and the sense of downgraded. Apple calls it seamless. Economists calls it high switching cost. It's habit plus memory plus the fear of things no longer just working. And the payout is huge. Apple made roughly $85 billion last year from services alone. They're no longer just selling devices, they're monetizing dependency. Now, how Apple converts casual users into lifers. Near Al's Fogg model has 4 steps: the trigger, the action, the variable reward, and investment. Apple loops all 4. The iPhone is the trigger with the buzz. The action is to unlock, which is the reward. Maybe important, maybe not. Investment is when you respond and create data, store memories. You're in deeper. iCloud storage is perfect execution. You take photos, they auto-save. Storage fills and Apple offers 50 gigabytes for 99 cents. You accept not because of the price, but because your memories now live with Apple. Living means work and risk, and that's the investment stage. The more you give, the harder it is to walk away. Developers are trapped here too. Millions built for iOS. Even when Apple tightens rules and takes 30%, they stay, because rebuilding elsewhere is worse. Apple didn't build an ecosystem, they built a behavioral moat. And this goes deeper than notifications. Early iPhones use skeuomorphism, making digital objects look like real ones. Notes look like the legal pad, bookshelves looked wooden. It made new tech feel familiar and safe. And once users are trained, Apple removed the crutch, flattening the design. Next, status signaling, blue bubbles versus green bubbles. It builds tribes. iPhone equals in-group. Then the endowment effect. Once you own something, you value it more. Apple strengthened this with trade-in programs, upgrade cycles, and Apple Care. Your device becomes part of your identity, and upgrading feels like leveling up yourself. And Apple's hype machine primes dopamine before launch. Teasers, leaks, events. By the time the product ships, the emotional decision is already made. Apple doesn't just sell hardware, they sell anticipation. But real quick, this isn't a sponsor and I'm not here to waste your time. But if you care about why tech companies do what they do instead of just taking their word for it, that's what this channel is all about, and we need your help. If you've been enjoying the videos, be part of the 1% that are already subscribed, because it genuinely helps the channel grow. Right, back to the video. So why does Apple design like this? 2 words. Lifetime value. An iPhone costs $1,000, but an Apple customer is worth tens of thousands. AirPods, iCloud, Apple Music, Apple Care, Mac upgrades, App Store spending. The list goes on, and repeat every few years. That predictable spending means predictable revenue. Even when iPhones sell slow, services grow, up double digits last year. And competitors can't replace this because the moat isn't specs, it's psychology. Apple wins because living hurts more than staying. Is Apple evil? No, They're just simply best at understanding behavior. Every major tech company plays the attention game. Apple just hides it better. Privacy, that's iPhone. A brilliant narrative that builds trust, the tightest lock-in of all. You're not just addicted to the iPhone itself. You're addicted to how seamlessly Apple turns thoughts into action. Check, swipe, reply, stay. They didn't force you, they made compliance a path of least resistance. That's why they're worth $3 trillion. Not because their products are beautiful, but because they're engineered to become part of you. Apple builds habit loops, ecosystem walls, and psychological on-ramps that keeps you checking, staying, and upgrading. And honestly, that's impressive. If you're going to be hooked on something, at least it's well made.